Hello, everybody. It's Jane Celia Hatch. Bethesda Star is my spiritual name, which I got. I remember my middle daughter, Jenna, was turning 21. So that was 10 plus years ago. The name Bethesda was whispered in my ear at night, and it felt like a very angelic entity or energy or godlike. And so I kind of picked it up. And the one reason I did is because at first it didn't make any sense to me because I had like no connection with the word at all. And then I looked up the healing pools of Jerusalem and where Jesus healed the sick. Sorry, I've had allergies and a chest infection. Um, so the name resonated because it was very feminine too. It was the healing pools of water. So I still use that name, and it is the name of my herbal company, Bethesda Star Organics. And I have a website under that name as well, BethesdaStarOrganics.com. And you can see what I have in stock. So again, my name is Jane Celia Hatch. I am a psychic, a shamanic healer. I do a lot of work with crystals, and I'm a Reiki Master. I'm a certified herbalist, and I also make flower essence. I also do remote viewing, and let me get my book. I always forget about that. I am a writer and a former journalist as well. I have a degree in journalism, and I was a journalist for a while. And then I got banned in Maine. I got targeted for being just for being me, basically. So I was a whistleblower journalist, and I was kind of blowing the whistle on the nuclear power plant in Maine, Maine Yankee, and also Bath Iron Works. I was blowing the whistle on some things they were doing, all kinds of stuff they were doing. And so that's just part of the reason I'm targeted and banned in Maine, because I was born targeted, I'm sure. So I'm also, in addition to a healer and an herbalist, I'm also a targeted individual, which is a huge part of my life since probably birth. I'm also a survivor of MKultra. And last but not least, and something I've just discovered, is I'm also a survivor of the secret space program. For all of my life, I've wondered what happened the first 7 years, and I didn't know. I couldn't figure it out. I just thought, well, they must be happy memories because I can't remember them, and everything else is horrible from 7 on. So I was like, I have to have had some good memories. But anyway, I am also, I believe, a survivor of SSP, and I also do remote viewing. Here is my book. The Land of Broken Crystals, and if you watch me, you know about this book. It is the story of Satanic family courts in this country and all through the West. I believe that the courts were infiltrated soon after the 50s during Operation Paperclip, which is a Nazi agenda that was brought over to the United States with the collaboration of the American military. We are now under the complete control of the military complex, the industrial military complex. And it really went into full swing after World War II. And an agreement between America and the Nazis that if the Americans would not proclaim the truth, which was that the Germans actually won, the Nazis won the war, then the Germans asked a certain treaty that they could import. I think it began with 1,500, and I think ultimately about there's different numbers, like up to 50,000 scientists, military, all kinds of Nazis were imported over during Operation Paperclip, and that's split into hundreds, potentially thousands of different programs. I was supposedly part of Operation Peacock. There's Operation Surrogate Mother. There's the Monarch program for creating sex slaves. But anyway, the Americans supposedly agreed in this treaty that the Nazis could abduct 50,000 children per year for their testing for the secret space program. The Nazis wanted not only dominion over Earth, but the moon and Mars and other galaxies. And they needed to advance their technologies. And most of the time, unfortunately, how this is done is experiments on children. And that was done in Montauk, where they did the time travel experiments, and Area 51 and Dulce. And I believe I was probably, because I'm from Massachusetts, and my father was very involved with Raytheon and Honeywell. Raytheon is now one of the #1 suppliers of weapons, and specifically directed energy weapons and radiation weapons. And I think that I was either sold into the program through a contract with my father, or I don't think I was abducted. I actually think he made an agreement with Raytheon when I was little. I don't have evidence, but I am getting memories back of what they did to me from probably birth to 7. I also think it's the reason they got rid of my mother when I was 7, because I came out of the program at 7, the MKultra. And for MKultra, which probably a lot of you know about, sorry, my voice is still, it's the splitting of the mind of the child and then programming the different splits. I think that, well, one of the priorities is when you come out of MKultra, they want you to be continually, and when I'm talking about I'm talking about the Nazis in collaboration with the American military, the royal families, basically the elite, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Jesuits, the Vatican. I could go on and on and on who the deep state is, but basically it was the Nazis in collaboration in agreement with the elite American military. And when you come out of those experiments, they don't ever want you to remember, because it was illegal. And they were supposed to have gone underground, but after the church committee hearings, but they never did. And they want you to be continually traumatized for the rest of your life. And if you have a loving mother in the home, that's not possible. And what will happen is you'll start to remember. If you have enough stability and love and support, you'll start to remember. So I'm sure that's how I don't know if I'm sure, but I suspect that that's what they did. That's why they got rid of my mother. My father did. She just completely disappeared from my life. No warning. She was drugged and brought to a mental institution, and my father never allowed her to come home. And I think that was part of MKultra and the Nazi Operation Paperclip. And my father became very, very successful after I got out of the program with Raytheon and Honeywell. I have no evidence of this, but I am getting memories. So I wrote about how this system has affected family court and mothers and children. Breaking up families is a big part of Operation Paperclip. They want to, and that was a big part of the 1960s. It was actually a psyop to break up the family so that it could. The more families break up, the more trauma, the more there's orphan children and lost children and foster children. And then those children are trafficked into these, labs, these underground labs. And I was just writing, I'm writing a book, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this, because I have 2 interviews coming up about this new book. But basically, they wanted to break up the American family, which they did very well, with all kinds of psychological operations. It's sort of like it was a faux feminist movement. It was a faux sexual liberation movement. And they always tell us it's about our freedom. It's like, BLM was a faux freedom movement, and Antifa, they're all fake movement supposedly about our happiness and our freedom, but ultimately it's about their gain, as far as, and in this case, it was children. So there's not many missing children. There's abducted children. They're in military bases. You know, the 5 million or so the FBI said go missing. These children don't go missing. They're abducted. I mean, there's probably a few, but they're basically abducted by our military. So, wow, how did I get into all that? Oh, so I am here. I just wanted to call in the loving and compassionate ancestors and flower divas, and bless this recording and everyone watching it. So happy fall. I love fall. It's my favorite. And I got my first Trader Joe's pumpkin vanilla candle. I highly recommend it. So as I said, I did a recording a few days ago, and I wanted to do, because of the elections coming up, I wanted to do remote viewing and get sort of an eagle eye perspective on the two candidates. You know, everything you see in the news is warped, and it's influenced, and you know, they're absolute experts at mind control and symbols. And so a lot of what you're seeing on both sides is propaganda, and a lot of the propaganda is just to divide us. Like, you pick that team and I'll pick this team, you know, and that's what they want us to do. And then they'll create all kinds of controversy to make sure we stay divided. That is the ultimate goal of the elections, is to divide us, so we turn against each other. And you know, if we always stay separate, there'll never be, you know, an uprising. As long as they can keep us hating each other and thinking, well, that side's doing this and this side's doing this, and that's, you know, in the background, they're all the same. They are all the same. All the elites are on the same team. It's the New World Order, you know, no matter. And you know, I definitely, you know, I was most of my life liberal when it used to actually be liberal. And I thought they were going insane when I found out what Hillary Clinton was doing, and all the sex trafficking survivors who have testified that she is trafficking children, and she is a pedophile, and she's a warmonger, and she's just this evil human being. I'm like, well, I can't vote for her. And I had a good feeling about Trump, so I voted for him once, and then I voted for that green person from Vermont. But I was very, very emotionally drawn to Trump. I wasn't really in my intuition. And I mean, if I had to declare levels of evil, I would say he's probably less evil, but he is the exact same vibration as far as Jesuit, you know, Freemason, New World Order, sex trafficking. You know, I have interviewed and heard testimony from at least one person that she was trafficked to him when she was 13. And she doesn't even talk about it because no one believes her. It's like, even like the women that say, you know, like, who was it that woman who came out and said she was raped by Trump. I think I don't know, but those women are even part of it, because you're real women that came out and said you were, they're not even going to listen to you because they've got their own groups of who's going to say what and when and where. Like, they know they probably knew 10 years ago who's going to be president of America in November. And they knew who was going to be last year. All of this is a game. But I wanted to just do remote viewing on them. And I did. Again, it wasn't recorded. The audio wasn't. But I will tell you what I saw. And I will try to do it again today, now. And So what I saw with Kamala Harris, you know, and I just get like glimpses or snapshots. So she was making a speech, and then she got down from the podium and she walked down these stairs and into this facility, and she climbed back into like this cylinder, plastic cylinder, and it was closed up. And I saw there was like 4 or 5 of her. So the only thing that I could say in response to that is she's cloned. She has several clones. And you can see they're kind of new because she's still very articulate, although one seemed to be really going off the deep end with the cackling. That was a malfunction. And sadly, I asked to see her essence, which is her original soul. And I just saw a very, very awful scene where she was sort of being kept in like, this might be a metaphor, but it was like a dirty hotel. It wasn't dirty, but it was like not a nice one. It was like a Motel 6 or whatever it is. And she was being kept like hidden, like imprisoned. And she was very unhappy. She did not look well at all. She actually has no voice. They're just using her. You know, they're using her. I'm gonna try to share. I wanted to show something here. Let's see if I can do it. I usually can, so. Okay, here it is. I'd like to make this bigger though. Not that, that. Okay, so, and you know, Kamala is not black. She is, you know, it's just part of the psyop. They don't even try to hide the lies anymore. The only reason Kamala Harris is a so-called Democratic nominee for president is because of her skin color. That's it. And see, here is her mother, Shamala Gopalan Harris. So clearly, Kamala is an Indian, a woman from India, not Native American. She's Indian, and she also is, she keeps trying to have a black accent. It's like, how can anyone vote for her, even just knowing that superficial? Like, she keeps pretending to be somebody else. You know, the whole entire America has just completely gone to hell under. I don't even think she was running it though. Her essence is locked away somewhere, and she's very, very unhappy. It's like I see her now because I saw her essence just sort of imprisoned so they could use her clones. I feel sorry for her now. Like I feel sorry for her. Even if she wins, she's not running the country. You know, you know that. And even if Trump wins, he's not running the country. You know, they're just puppets. So that's what I saw with Kamala. And if you don't know about cloning, there's all kinds of information about there now. They've had that technology for over 100 years. They use clones all the time. I believe I haven't seen it yet myself, but I understand Trump has several clones. It might have been one of his clones in that shooting incident, which actually I wanted to mention something about this and how it made me really get into Trump too for a couple of years. It's an iconic image now. It's a really, really powerful image. It had I don't know if this is it, but he had his fist in the air. he had the American, yeah, here it is right here. This is a really powerful image, and they've since kind of worked it, and there's an American flag behind it, and he has the blood and he has the fist, and when you see the American flag behind it, there's something between the fist, the blood, the flag that cuts to the heart of most Americans. I don't know why. I think it might be the Civil War or something, but like it brought tears to my eyes. But I know now it's supposed to make you feel. But this image has nothing to do with who Trump is, like, and what he does or who he is. It's just an image they created, and it's emotional. It's very emotional. But it's a creation of the deep state. They want more division. They want people to be really angry about, they're either angry that if they're on the left, they're angry the shooter didn't get the guy. If they're on the right, they're angry at the this and this, and it's just like more anger, more fear. And who's living off of that? The Satanists. They love our suffering. So I see, when you ever see anything like this, don't fall for it. Like, you have to look at people's records. Like, just, don't get fearful, don't get angry, don't get sad. Just try to stay in a love vibration, because they want you out of that love. They want you out of unity. They want you out of hope. They want you really, really angry about this. And that's, and they want you to be more and more angry at the other side. And, it's sad. It really is. They've been doing this to us forever, centuries and centuries and centuries. They divide and conquer, because we all fall for it. And I get why. It's emotional, but I wasn't really planning on showing that. So that's what I got from Kamala. She has many clones. They're just using her because I guess it's because she's Black. I don't know. That's why it is. And she's a woman, and supposedly that means going forward it would in some circumstances, but certainly not this. They're abusing her terribly. Because basically, when you get to that level of the Rockefeller, Rothschild, Illuminati, 13 families, where they hate Black people, they hate her. They're just using her to divide and conquer, so that they can usher in the Antichrist and the New World Order. So they're just using her. So it's sad, really. I look at her now and I just feel sad for her. So I did remote viewing on Trump, and it was very curious because he was standing on the side of the hill beside those big president Mount Rushmore, is it called, all the president's faces, and he was just standing there all alone beside the Mount Rushmore. And then he started to walk down the side of Mount Rushmore by himself, which is really strange. And then he opened a door in the side of the hill or the mountain and started to go down. So there's entrances to deep underground military bases all over the country. I don't know. Maybe there is one. And I tried to follow, but I couldn't. They would not let me follow. So I don't know if it's his protection or mine, but they would not. And I don't force myself. So on these remote viewings, if I'm allowed to see it, fine. If not, so I didn't get much on him. That's all I got. But I was going to try again today. So I'll ask again if I can get anything on him today, remote viewing. I guess I'll stop share for a minute. So what I'm basically doing is just calling in my guidance, God, and it's more and more just God now. Like, I'm not, my power animals and spirit, they're still there, but I can just feel like I'm just going to God now for everything. you know, unless it's some specific task. Like if I'm doing a shamanic healing, I need like hawk, or I need a jaguar, I need lion, because they're almost like surgeons. They're surgeons of the spirit world, spiritual surgeons. So you know, those beings of love and compassion still come in. But for information like this, I'm generally going to the highest energy possible. So I do have a bright light in my face, but I'm going to see if I'm just calling in protection, native protection, like a chief energy. So I'm just saying in my head, can I remote view Donald Trump to show his true character? What is he doing? So now I have a lot more protection. They did not. Okay, so okay, they're not letting me go down, but I'm able to see. So I'm seeing him walking very quickly through some sort of angrily through some sort of underground facility. I don't know. There seems to be many beds. I hate to think. I think there's clones. There's clones. He's walking past clones. They look like clones that are in the process of becoming clones. I don't know how long that takes. Maybe I don't think it's children, but most of the underground bases have children because they're using kidnapped children for these torturous experiments to advance technology. They've mastered time travel. They have they've learned anti-gravity. I mean, they've learned like I heard 100,000 children died at Montauk in this chair called the trip seat. And if you don't have the strongest psychic abilities, you die in the seat. But they kept weeding out children until they found like the strongest psychic children, and those are the children that the Germans like, is that the psychics, the intuitives, those that can retrieve information for them from other galaxies, other planets, beings, because they don't really have the capability that we do. So they use us, and I survived. You know, I think a lot of targeted individuals are actually people from secret space program. So he seems very angry about something. I don't know what's going wrong. Okay, it looks like he's going to a meeting in this dome. I don't know where it is. Maybe near Mount Rushmore. Who am I seeing? Oh, you know, I'm just not going to say because people flip out, but let me just tell you that all these people that pretend they're not on the same side, they're all on the same side. New World Order. They're Freemasons. They're Jesuits. Do you know that Donald Trump, all his children are married to Jewish people? And he was, you know, Kushner, that is one of his son-in-laws, very close to not in whatever the Israeli leader. I don't know if he's still not in. I can't even say his name. I think because it's so evil. But he's very, very, very deep into Israel. He's very aligned with them. Okay, so I see like there's some sort of, you know, did you get the memo type of energy. Like something's up. They're like you know, Trump doesn't lose his cool very often, but he seems like upset, like something is not going right. It's not going right for them, that means it's going right for us. So you know, I even see one of Kamala's clones there. I mean, he does. Trump, I have a feeling that Trump was making a lot of decisions the last 4 years. He seems like he's, you know, the head of the table. but they're all in the same team. It's all the same team. It's New World Order is what I'm seeing. So it seems like something has happened to disrupt this march towards, the complete takeover of the planet. The killing off of Princess Diana, that was a ritual sacrifice. And a big part of it was a ritual sacrifice of the goddess, the mother, because when the mother energy is strong on the planet, the Antichrist couldn't return because it's such a powerful love. And so part of killing Diana on that date, on that time, on the 13th pillar under the tunnel in Paris, was to do with ushering in Osiris and the New World Order and the Antichrist. So they've been making way for this for decades. They probably knew who's going to be president, so-called president, in November 10 years ago, or maybe even 20 years ago. All the elites of the whole world planet, from Israel to the royals to, Russia, to a lot of this, there's not much division at the top. They're all in it together. And they just, they put a lot of effort into dividing us so that we will never figure this out. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to try to go any closer, but in fact, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's really interesting that the natives were really protecting me. Like it must be the land out there or something that the natives showed up. So oh yeah, the other thing, I am going to talk about herbs and healing too, because I really like to include that. Let's see. So if you watch one of my last videos about Princess Catherine, I was saying that she is no longer with us. I believe she was murdered. You'll have to watch the last video for you to see how I thought she was murdered and why. In fact, matter of fact, I think her death was sort of planned when she married William too. Just like most survivors of the royal family who knew Diana and are in the satanic ritual world said that Diana was born to be sacrificed, Princess Diana. And unless you're a direct royal bloodline, you are absolutely disposable. So probably before Kate was even married to William, they were planning her to sacrifice her, because if they want to see, again, they can't keep a loving mother with her children and mind control these children. The children have to be so traumatized that their brains will split and they can program them to be the kind of leaders they want, which are psychopaths. They want psychopaths to be leader, and they can't create psychopaths if the loving mother or the loving father. If you've got a psychopathic mother and a loving father, they'll get the kids with the mother then. But who's ever the courts are working now, who's ever the pedophile, the psychopath, that's where they're trafficking the children, and they'll either kill off the mother or they'll demoralize her to the point she suicides. I mean, that's what they tried to do to me. They're still trying to do that. I still have suicide programming. But anyway, so this is an interesting turn of events. So the royal family has created the craziest new video. And I say crazy for them, because it's almost like very witchy, very pagan, very like in the woods. They were making fun of Harry and Meghan when Harry and Meghan came out with that video when they were lying in the grass. And so now they're doing it with whoever this woman is. So again, I said that Catherine Middleton has been murdered. She's been gone for at least a year. So they have used stand-ins. Let me see. The one that appeared,
As a summer comes
okay,
to an
let's
end,
listen to
I
it.
cannot tell you what a relief it is to finally complete
So it's
my
weird
chemotherapy
shots. Like this is not royal typically. I like it, but it's very weird for them. There's a lot of blurry shots, side shots. It's just a very weird video for the royals who, you know, normally they're all in kind of a stuffy, bright lights, face forward. So this, and I agree with Annabella, who's an intuitive reader, that this woman in this video is not the same as the woman. She looks more like the original Catherine Middleton in some of these shots.
As the summer comes to an end, I cannot tell you what a relief it is to have finally completed my chemotherapy treatment.
So I don't know of any chemotherapy that makes you look about 10 years younger and, you know, like you're 24 and your hair is like 10 times thicker. So I don't believe, like other psychics said she did have cancer. I don't believe she ever had cancer. I think she was murdered. And I described how she was murdered in the other video. But I did want to say that there's a mystery how this woman looks a lot more like the real Catherine Middleton than the one stand-in they had who does not look at all like Kate Middleton at the tennis. This woman does not look at all like Kate Middleton. But this woman in the new video, this very strange mystical kind of pagan side shots, blurry shots. Look at this, side shots. They don't really want you to see her face front. And look at the hair. Like whoever this woman is, she definitely has not been through 9 months of chemotherapy. But I wanted to tell people there is, when you have an unlimited budget, let's say 12, you know, trillions of dollars, which the military industrial complex have, and that's who's running the royals even, and you have, and look at that hair. Anyway, you have endless technology to do this, to splice. And I wanted to say now they also have time travel techniques. The elites can travel back in time, they can travel forward in time, they can change history even now, going back in time. So there's whoever this woman is, it could be a time traveler. They could have recorded Kate before she died. But I don't know about you, but I find this whole thing very
in an instant.
Suspicious. See how blurred that is?
Waters and road unknown.
And that's blurred. It's trying to be like cool, I know, but like
the cancer journey is complex,
it's very pagan,
scary, and unpredictable for everyone, especially those closest to you. With humility,
it's kind of creepy.
It also brings you face to face with your own vulnerabilities.
I mean, this is like something I would make for shamanic, for shaman, leaning up against a tree. It's not what the royals do unless they've got an agenda and they're scared and they're running scared. And they know this woman, the original Kate, was murdered. I will say this one looks more like the original Kate Middleton than the one that appeared at the tennis match. I'm not sure how they did it. I know Kate Middleton is not alive. They could have done a tape 8 years ago, and then of them just because they know when someone's going to be murdered, and they could have done that tape, spliced it. I mean, again, when you have unlimited technology, unlimited money, and you have the cooperation of, you know, the richest, the most powerful people in the world, when you're trying to cover something up, it's amazing what you can do. But I find this, even if I didn't know,
never considered before.
It's almost, maybe they're trying to copy
everything. I just feel it.
You know, everything's blurry, fast, confusing. Like ravens? That's weird.
Reminded William and me
That's
to
weird
reflect
even. That's kind
and
of
be grateful
dangerous.
for the simple yet important
Just like,
things in life, which so many of us often take for granted.
but again, she does not look like the original, but she looks more like the original. So I don't know how they did this, but they did it.
Doing what I can to stay
I find,
free.
look at that. I mean, I find that very weird, like dark and ominous. Again, you know, maybe if you were making a nature photo, or, you know, shamanic or nature spirits, but I find this quite strange. So I'm gonna move on. I just wanted to bring that up because this is brand new, and wow, it is all over the news, like all over. They are just crazy trying to make everyone believe that that Kate, it's like over the top. Sky News, emotional message. Kate gives major health update, announces she has completed chemotherapy, rare video. It just goes on and on and on. It's like there's an element of fear there, especially the way they created it. Dark, murky, hazy, you know, weird. Like, who lets their kids play on a pile of logs like that? I just, like, I found that really weird. Why are they sitting on cut logs? I don't know. It's just, well, it's just sad. I know there's another woman. You know, she's gone. They just used her to breed, because, you know, the royals, they'd be retarded if they didn't finally get, I hate to say that, but, you know, they have to get some human blood in their children, or they're going to look too reptilian. So anyway, that's an update because that's brand new. So also, I just wanted to say I am starting to make, I don't know, maybe I'm gone now. You're right. Stop share. So I made some really amazing salves. They're different. I was making pinyon pine, and these are St. John's wort. And St. John's wort, along with, I can tell you what's in it. They smell so amazing because there's an entire teaspoon of geranium essential oil, but there's 1.5 cups of St. John's wort oil, 1 cup of cocoa butter, shea butter, beeswax, castor oil, and essential oil. So these are super rich, and with the St. John's wort, they're super protective. I only have about 8 of them. I will probably put, this is like private stock because I don't have any more St. John's wort oil. It would be really good for targeted individuals because it's thick. It also has protective energy with the St. John's wort, and also just the thickness of it, because we're always getting hit with directed energy weapons and any layer of protection you have. So I will put links to these. I'll probably sell a few of them anyway. They're truly amazing. They are part of my private stock. And I just want to talk again about flower essence. Flower essences are amazing. Like, especially I use all the time my white rose, which makes me feel like I am in a different reality than the rest of the planet, which I need because the planet is like pretty crazy. This is a yellow rose. I use this a lot when I'm writing. It's uplifting. I'll tell you what, this is something I made up. This is all my flower essences. Where's my yellow rose, yellow rose, yellow rose? So I can just read it. Activating creative energy, fulfillment of a creative project. So that's why I take yellow rose when I'm finishing this book. This book, by the way, is going to be shocking. It's going to shock the world if we can get it out. We're going to start talking about it. It started out primarily about Princess Diana. And now it is really, really equally focusing on Elizabeth Wallace. If you haven't heard me talk about her, she is a woman I've been interviewing. She's in the Netherlands. I've been interviewing and talking with her for over a year. We're actually very good friends right now. She is the biological daughter of the late Queen Elizabeth II, and she has the inside story on everything that happened to Diana, why it happened, and what they were doing to Diana, what they were doing to her, what is really going on behind the scenes, and nobody knows it. The BBC has never come close. Even Andrew Morton's book has not come close. The Panorama, the infamous Martin Bashir Panorama BBC, like this is going to shock the world, but it's also going to enlighten and I hope change the world if we can find a publisher brave enough to take it on. Yes, so I've been using my flower essences to just get through this. It's really, really tough stuff most of the time of what they were doing to Diana, what they did to Elizabeth. They used a surrogate family to raise her. And meanwhile, she was at Buckingham Palace from a baby up, but there was only one thing they wanted her for, even though she was direct bloodline. They couldn't kill her, but they were, and I'm going to go into that. Elizabeth Wallace and I are going to talk about it together for the first time, I think Saturday. And I'm also going to appear on TNT. That'll be the second time. So we're really coming out with it now because it has to get out. It's going to change the world if someone will publish it. You're going to hear the inside story on Hitler. You're going to hear the inside story on Queen Elizabeth's relationship with him. Globally, what was going on from Elizabeth's perspective, who was in Elizabeth Wallace's perspective, who was very close to the Queen, and in Hitler at the end of World War II. Well, from the 50s on up to the 60s to the 80s. And she knew, there's just so much I can't even. It's mind-blowing. It's truly mind-blowing what she is going to reveal to the world. So anyway, I was talking about my I'm using the flower essences to sort of stay stable. And so white rose, angelic overseer of other flowers, purity, ascension, truth after transformation, divine blessing, staying connected to soul, purpose, higher self, bringing heaven to earth. So I use that all the time now, and it's electrical. Well, like we're electrical beings. So these flower essences, and I make them myself, and these are $15, and I will also put a link if you are interested. And I think I need to make a screenshot of this too and maybe put it below. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Was an update on Princess Catherine and sort of remote viewing of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and announced the two interviews coming up about the new book, which has a working title called Royal Hearts, and my products, my book. I'll put a link to my book. I am starting to do private healings again. If you're in the Santa Fe area, and I haven't done it for years, I'm setting up my office again. I will let you know if you want. I also do long distance remote. I'm starting to work helping, like I am just deprogramming from MKultra, and I'm learning with my guides how to do that. I don't know if I'm quite ready to help anyone else. but that is on my agenda, as well as soul retrieval, energy clearing, depossession. I can also do soul readings. I can do soul pictures. I can draw a picture of your original soul. I can remote view for you. I'm not sure I can read your secret space program records, but I am, because I'm just starting to do that myself. But anyway, I will leave it all below, and I hope this recorded this time, and I hope everyone's well and happy fall. And I will put the links to the 2 upcoming interviews. One is with Elizabeth Wallace herself, and another is with a radio station called TNT. So lots of love. Bye.